Hi, my name's Kirk Hollis, and I am one of the district therapists for Ponca City's public school system. Um, we just wanted to give you an update, parents, on how really everything is affected this fall by our response to the virus and how it affects various reentry into the school setting. Um, my my job as a therapist is to mostly go to the school building and see kids for counseling. We've provided that service now for a number of years through our school system, free of cost, giving all students the opportunity to have access to that, and that is not going to change this year, no matter what learning option that parents opt for their kids. If your child opts to be in the school setting um, with a teacher there on site, we have a particular set of objectives, which I'll cover in just a moment, um, for providing that service for them at that setting. If they are going to be mostly partaking of school online or in a distanced way, we can also provide services for that. So there will be no discontinuation of services for students based on the learning option that they choose. If students do choose the on-site option, or if parents and students decide upon that as an option, uh, the objective is to make sure that proper social distancing is in place between therapist, counselor, and the student at all times. And if it's not possible, then there will be a face covering that we will use in conjunction with being in contact with your child. An example of that might be typically when a child comes to the school office for to meet up with a therapist, to walk to a room and receive services. Typically, the therapist or counselor would walk down the hall with the student, and in that case, the face covering will be worn for sure to make sure that there's no uh, spread of the infection in any way. Once we reach the room, we will be distanced in the room that we use for counseling. Will be distanced to a safe level, to an appropriate level, and parents will also be given the option of signing a permission form that states that the therapist or counselor must wear a face covering at all times during the session. If there's a comfort level, if a parent feels comfortable saying, "Hey, if you're as long as you're distanced from my child sufficiently, you don't have to wear a face covering during that time," that's fine too. But we're going to give the option for parents to choose if they're most comfortable with a face covering being worn at all times. Give them the option to have the therapist or counselor wear that at all times. That's kind of the main things we're looking at. If you are looking at a distance learning environment or an online environment for your child or student in this fall, we have a couple different ways in which we can be in touch with students. One is through Zoom. This summer and during the spring, I became very familiar with sessions on Zoom. I'm still doing sessions on Zoom with students. It's not as ideal as in person, but it is effective, I think, in a lot of ways, particularly if the student is already familiar with me as their counselor or therapist. The other option we have is a thing called Google Voice, which allows students to basically send text back and forth with counselor, therapist. It's not the same as texting them on their personal phone, but it does create that communication loop for students, particularly older students, high school students who need to be able to ask a question for the therapist, or need to be able to just have a dialogue about an issue in their life or whatever the case may be. And we know that normally we wouldn't use something like that because we could just meet face to face whenever a student has a need. But right now we're just trying to maximize all the different ways in which we can reach students for counseling. So the bottom line is, with my department, my job, those that do what I do, um, we have another school therapist assigned to the district who'll be doing the same type of work that I do. is the main thing what we want parents to understand is that we're not discontinuing any services based on what's going on out there. We're just going to modify the way in which we provide them and give parents lots of choices as far as how their kids are served via what we do. So I would encourage you, if you have any questions, you can call down to the administration building and ask for me with regards to that. Please feel free to do that, and also know that we are aware that kids are going to have some adjustment difficulties getting back into this arena. For many of these kids, for most of them, they haven't been in a setting like school now. It'll be 5 months or more when they start school since they've been in that setting. And it's going to be an adjustment period, and we're going to be available for parents and for students to help make that possible. We anticipate there will be some anxiety about that, and just some stress in general with regards to re-entering into the school setting, but we are going to provide services and help and support for all of our students in terms of that dynamic. So again, feel free to call if you have any questions. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing your kids, your students, children in a few weeks. Thank you.